and welcome to Garden Style. So it is 2019. Welcome to the new year. Been out for a little while as we've had our nursery closed for a couple of weeks so we could get everybody some time off, and we've come back and we're getting reset for spring. So today I thought I would cover paper whites and amaryllis and how to plant them indoors so that you can get some winter color, especially at this time of the year when everything is either covered in snow, depending on where you live, or it just looks dead. And we could all use a little life inside the house, besides just houseplants. So I thought today I would teach you how to force bulbs indoors. So I have in front of me here a very large dish. This is probably about 16 inches wide, and it's glass. And I just chose this dish because it's low, and it would be better for me to demonstrate to you how to plant paper whites. Now, paper whites are a pretty tender bulb, and they're something that are easy to force indoors. You don't have to stratify them by putting them in, a refrigerator or have them exposed to the cold. Unlike, tulips and hyacinths, that sort of thing, they actually need the cold in order for them to sprout in the spring. But these guys, as you can see, are ready to go. And we usually get these in bulk right around the holidays. And a lot of folks give these away, or they plant them themselves during the holidays so they have extra color for the table. But I like planting them in January when we're all desperate for a little bit of color. And these particular paper whites are extremely fragrant. And I'm hoping you can see these right here. These just got started, and you can see I have a smaller container here that I put them in, and they've already sprouted and come up, and they're already starting to bloom. And these take about 5 to 6 weeks before they're fully up and ready to bloom. So I'm going to give you a few hints here on how you can accomplish this. And you can choose a small container like this or a big one like this. You don't necessarily have to have soil. I've actually chosen a natural rock or pebble stone that I'm putting in the bottom of this container. But there are all kinds of things you can use as a medium to put your bulbs into. For instance, you can use glass beads of all different colors. You can use white rock. I've got black rock here. You can layer them if you want to, do white and black. But the really neat thing is, once you have them in and they get to growing, you can actually start to see their roots on the outside. And it's actually kind of cool. Something you can watch, and it'd be really neat for the kids as well. Something that they could watch grow as well. So when you go to put these in, you of course have your top and you have your bottom. And you always want to find where the bottom is. And some of these actually have their old roots still attached to them, as you can see here. And we're just going to place them in here about 1 inch apart from each other. And then we're going to pour just enough water inside of this container to where it just touches the bottom of the bulb. You don't want the whole bulb soaked in the water. You just want part of it touching the water, which will instigate it to start growing its roots and get itself established inside of the pebbles. So what I'm going to do is do a close-up of how I'm planting these in here, and then I'll give you a little more information on how you can take care of them afterwards. So here we go. Alright, so there you go. Easy peasy. As you can see, I have them all in here, and the water down here at the bottom is just barely touching the bottoms of these bulbs. Now, common thing that happens with paper whites once they get long is they get so long that they start to droop. So you'll notice on these guys that I actually tied a little bow around them to keep them from doing that. But there's also another trick that you can use. Once you see that all of these have sprouted and they're about this high, add about 1 part alcohol, vodka is what I use, to about 7 parts water. So you dump the old water out, and then you put in this 1 part alcohol to 7 parts water in with your bulbs, and it actually slows them down a little bit, enough to where it doesn't quite stunt their growth, but they just don't get as long and stringy to where they start to flop over. So that's a cool little trick, and we've used it here in the store, and of course they grew to be probably about this high, and they started blooming, and they looked amazing. Just real bushy and pretty, and of course they all just sailed out the door as soon as they started blooming, because they smell amazing. Now another neat trick you can use is in a vase. Let me show you. So you can use a big vase like this, or you can even use one skinnier than this. And that way when they grow up, they actually start to lean against the edges of the vase, and that looks real pretty too. And that one I actually intend to use for a terrarium, which is a little subject that I'm going to talk to you guys about in my next video. So right here on the side of me here is an amaryllis, and you can pretty much follow the same rules for those. However, the bulbs can be huge. I mean, some of them that we sold were like softball size. They were really large. And this one happens to be a double white amaryllis, but they come in all kinds of colors. You can get them in red and cranberry. You can get red and white striped, and of course we sold all of those during Christmas. But this is just a really neat idea, especially during the month of January when we're hungry for a little bit of color, and spring isn't quite here yet. It's a little too early. So hopefully that will get you inspired to get out there, force some bulbs, and get some extra color and some blooms in the house until we actually get into mid-February, end of February, and then it's a whole gamut of things that we can start growing at that time. Okay, so in my next video I want to cover how to plant a terrarium, an indoor terrarium. And I'm going to be focusing quite a bit in my next 2 or 3 videos on indoor houseplants. And I'm going to pick 2 or 3 really common varieties that I want to cover with you, just to kind of give you a general idea as to houseplants and what they require, how to take care of them, because this is another great idea not only to purify the air within the home. More and more folks are buying houseplants for that reason, but also for the extra foliage and just have something pretty, either to fill the empty corner once your Christmas tree left, or just to add a little extra joy inside before we can start planting outside. Okay, of course if you have any questions or comments, you can certainly leave those in the description box down below, or you can get a hold of me at gardenstyleinwest@gmail.com, or on my website at gardenstyleinwest.com. Boy, I'm at a loss for words today. You can tell I'm a little out of practice. Alright, moving on to the next video, and I'll cover with you how to plant a terrarium. Meanwhile, take care out there, and let's get growing for 2019. See you soon. Bye for now.